today we are going to be learning about graphing linear equations that have a slope-intercept, or the plus b. So yesterday we learned how to use this slope-intercept equation, y equals mx plus b. We identified the slope and we identified the y-intercept. So here's the y-intercept, and here is the slope. Today what we're going to do is we are going to graph a line using only the y-intercept and the slope. In lessons past, you've been given the x value or the y value, and you've had to use substitution. Here, they're not going to give you the x or the y. Instead, they're giving you the other two parts of this equation. They're giving you just the slope and just the y-intercept. And you are going to be able to create a graph, a line, so that you can find x and find y. Okay, so our first thing that we are going to look at is a problem. And the problem says that they would like for you to graph y equals negative 3x plus a 3. They also want you to and identify the X Intercept. Okay, so we know that the y-intercept is b. Now we're going to look and see, where does the x cross that line? Or where does the line, I should say, cross the x-intercept? Because that x-axis is not moving, it's going to stay put. All right, so our first job is just what we did yesterday. We are going to identify some parts of this equation so that way we can indeed graph. So our first job is to identify the slope. Here's the slope right here. The slope is negative 3, and because we want it as a fraction, negative 3 written as a whole number is just negative 3 over 1 as a fraction. Okay, so here is our slope. So our slope is here. The other thing we also need to identify is whether this is a positive or negative slope. This is a negative slope, so this means that our slope is going to go downward. Our line will be going downward. That's really important for us to remember. Okay, the next thing we want to look at is our y, the y-intercept. So our y is going to intercept at positive 3. So in our previous lesson that we looked at, we were able to use some vocabulary. We know that when the y is crossing, or when the line is crossing the y-intercept, the x value is 0. So we're going to make an ordered pair using that information. So the ordered pair for the y-intercept is going to be 0, 3. That is the y, that's where it crosses the y-axis, and that means that our x value is 0. So just using these two things, we are going to create a graph. So the first thing that we want to do, our first step, so step number 1 is going to be to graph the ordered pair. Okay, that's our ordered pair right there. Our ordered pair for the y-intercept. Okay, that is our first step. So I'm going to take a sticky note, one of my stickies, and I am just going to start graphing. All right, so I'm going to start by going to 0, 3. So nowhere on my x-axis, but then I'm going to go up 3. 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to put a dot. Step 2. My step 2 is that I am going to use the slope. So now I'm going to use the slope to put another dot. Well, my slope says to go down 3 and over 1. Down 3, over 1. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go down 3, 1, 2, 3, and over 1. I'm going to continue. Down 3, 1, 2, 3, and over 1. On the top, I can go in reverse by going up 3 and over 1. 1, 2, 3, over 1 to the left because I'm going to be getting smaller. My slope is going down. So now what I want to do is I want to draw my line so that I can see where it crosses the x-axis. Oops. Okay, well, it looks like it crosses right here at this dot. And this dot right here is at 0. I'm sorry, this dot is at 1, 0. So now we're going to, step 3, identify x-axis. No, X-intercept. Oh my goodness, my words. Intercept. So here, the X-intercept, so x equals 1. Or, if I'm going to plot this point, it is 1, 0. So it crosses the x at 1, 0. So this is how you graph this equation when you don't have an x value and you don't have a y value. You can still graph it using the intercept and the slope. Okay, so next, let's do another example. Okay, this example, example number 2, or example B. Example B says, again, graph y equals negative 2/3 x minus 2. Okay, we also need to find x-intercept. So find x-intercept. All right, so our first job, we're going to rewrite this so that we can identify our slope and our y-intercept. Again, we want it to be in y equals mx plus b. So our first thing is I see right away my slope. My slope again is negative 2/3. That tells me my line is going down. So when I rise, my rise over run is actually, I don't know, get down and boogie? I don't know, we're going downward, right? Okay, and my y-intercept. Remember that this should say plus something. Up here, we knew that y equals mx plus the b. Well, so here, we're just going to add the negative 2. So my y-intercept is negative 2. So now we're going to create our ordered pair so that we can graph the ordered pair. So if the y value is negative 2, my x has to be 0. So I have my y-intercept, I have my slope, and I need to graph so that I can find the x-intercept. So let's get another sticky note. Here's my stickies. All right, so on this graph, let's start at 0, negative 2. So I start at 0 and then I go down 1, 2 to negative 2. All right. I also need to go down negative 2 over 3. So here, I'm going to go down negative 2. So 1, 2, and over 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you can see that the line is going to start to go this direction because it's going downward. Remember, down lines go from up to down. So that means that we're going to need to backtrack so that we can find the x-intercept, because right now we can't find what point it's going to land on. So instead, we're going to do like we did up here, and we're going to go in reverse. So we're going to go up 2, but are over 3 to the left. So up 2, 1, 2, and over 1, 2, 3. There we go. Now we're on the X. Let's do one more. Up 2, 1, 2, and over 1, 2, 3. So now I have 4 dots that I can connect. I see that I have a slope. That is a negative slope on my line. And I am ready to identify the x-intercept. So right here is my x. That's where it crosses the x-axis. So to figure that out, I'm going to go back to the origin and go 1, 2, 3. So I'm at -3 and 0. So my ordered pair is -3, 0. So this right here is x-intercept. There we go. So my x-intercept is -3. All right, I want to do one more example with you so that way you have another example that you can use. And in this example, I want to do a positive slope so that you can see how the line goes upward. Okay, so we're going to graph y equals 4x plus 1. Okay, and in this problem, you also need to find the x-intercept. All right, so you're really creating those 2 points to find the x and the y values. All right, so our first job is to identify the slope and the ordered pair that we're going to start at. So our slope is 4, okay, but we remember that we need a fraction, and a whole number into a fraction, just slap a 1 underneath it. So I have 4, and I'm slapping a 1 underneath it. That is my slope. This slope is positive. It's positive because there is no negative sign. So that means that my line is going to go from the bottom to the top instead of from the top to the bottom. My y-intercept is at 1, positive 1. So here's my y-intercept. So that means that my y-intercept is 1, my x is 0. So now I am ready to solve or to graph for the x-intercept. So where is this line going to cross the x-axis? Let's try using this. Okay. First step is to draw my axes because I don't have them, you do on yours. And okay, now I'm going to start by graphing the ordered pair. My first ordered pair is 0, 1. So I'm going to go nowhere and go up 1. And my slope is 4 over 1. So I'm going to go up 4 and over 1. So I'm going to go up 4. So up 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1. I'm going to go down 4. Down 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1 so that I can see where the x-axis is crossed at. Although this one's going to be really interesting to see. right. Up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go down 1, 2. Did I go down 4? I didn't go down 4. 1, 2, 3. Oh, there we go. 4 over 1. Okay, I apologize for that. Okay, so now we're going to graph this. And draw our little line right through here. This green is really challenging. It's like my pen is dying on that one. Let's redraw this. There we go. All right. So this is like at a half. So it crosses the x-axis at 0, 1/2. Oops, nope. At 1/2, 0. That is my x-intercept. All right, hopefully the ones that you get will be easier for you to identify that x-intercept. I'm sorry that that one was a crazy one. My apologies to you. Okay, next, let's go ahead and do a try it. Let's do, let's see if we can, oh yeah, I want you to have this try it because, this one is going to be really important. So this try it here says that you are going to graph and identify the x-intercept when y equals x minus 4. Remember that when you have an x that's all by itself, the 1 is invisible in front of it. So really this is like saying y equals 1x minus 4. So I want you to have this example in here so that way you know to just put the 1 in there when it's invisible. Okay, all right, go ahead and graph this and then hit play when you are ready. All right, so this one, I'm going to identify the slope. Again, it's 1, but there's also a 1 underneath it. So it's a whole 1. My y-intercept is plus this -4. So my y-intercept is -4, which means that my ordered pair is 0, -4, because the y value is -4. So I need to then find the x still. I don't know what it is yet because I have not graphed. So we're going to go ahead and graph and look for the x-intercept. All right, so again, wish my graph had the lines like yours. X-axis. Y-axis, I need the x-axis. Okay, so plot 0, -4. So on my line, I'm going to 0 and down -4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, next, I need to go 1, 1. Again, this is positive. No negative signs. So I'm going to go up 1, over 1. Up 1, over 1 until I hit that line. Up 1, over 1. Up 1, over 1. Down 1, over 1. Down 1, over 1. Just so I can graph this. Look how many dots we had to put. Okay. And once I draw my line, I can see that my x-intercept is right here, and it's at 1, 2, 3, 4. So positive 4, 0. So 4 is my x-intercept, and the ordered pair is 4, 0. Whew, that was a crazy one. Now you have seen it all. All right, so down below, go ahead and answer your essential question. How do we graph linear equations with a y-intercept or with a slope-intercept, the slope-intercept form, and then put your rating, your level of understanding out to the side. And then you may come on back to the Google Meet if you need help, or you can work on your practice work. As always, I appreciate all of your hard work, and make it a great day.